Hi, this is Karen Gaines, owner of Plenty of Sense LLC. And today I'm going to talk about preparing your financial statements for the year-end close. So right now we are in September, and right around the corner is December 31st, which is many nonprofits' fiscal year end. Now, I do realize that some nonprofits have their fiscal year end at June 30th or September 30th. It varies, but many nonprofits have their fiscal year end at December 31st. And it's important to have your financial statements, prepared, ready, accurate by the time December 31st rolls around. Okay? After, your fiscal year ends, there's typically a few reports that you'll have to file. There's the 990 tax return. There's the annual report that must be filed. Some of you have audits that you must engage in, or reviews you have to engage in. And then there is the 1099 filing that takes place at the beginning of every calendar year. So just a number of items that are due, back to back to back at the start of the calendar year. And again, it's best to be prepared for that. So here's what I suggest you do, or you start with. Hopefully you've been meeting with your accountant on a monthly basis and reviewing your financial statements. But if you have not, then you want to schedule a meeting so that you can talk with your accountant and have your accountant review the financial statements with you. Okay? So when your accountant reviews the financial statements with you, the first thing you're going to want to review are the bank balances. You're going to want to ask your accountant for the bank reconciliation, and then ask your accountant to show you how the bank reconciliation ties out to the balance that is on the balance sheet. If the two don't tie out, they don't agree, your accountant can't reconcile the two, or can't tie out the two, then there's an issue, and your accountant needs to do some work on the bank reconciliation to make sure that is accurate. Okay? Then the next thing you want to do is go through the balances on the rest of your balance sheet account. That could be, prepaids, your accounts payable, any deferred liability accounts, deferred revenue, anything else that is on your balance sheet, or any other balances on your balance sheet. You want to review with your accountant and make sure you understand it, make sure it ties out to some type of schedule, a reconciliation, or at least at least there's some type of explanation for the balance. Okay? And then what you want to do after that, once you've had that conversation with your accountant about all of your balance sheet accounts, all of the balances, your accountant will likely have to make some type of adjusting entry. Okay? And as the two of you have the conversation, it'll kind of just come up naturally of what balances need to be adjusted. Okay, and which your accountant will do for you. And then what you want to do is ask your accountant for a list of vendors of who should receive 1099s. Okay, and if your accountant can't come up with that list, then that means he or she needs to create that list for you and then present it to you. Once the list is created, make sure that there's a W-9 for each of those vendors. Or if there's not a W-9, make sure for each of those vendors you have the W-9 information, so that when January comes around, January hits, you're not going around, searching for W-9s, calling the vendor, trying to get in contact with him or her to get the W-9s. Because at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the fiscal year, there's so much going on, and you don't want to have to deal with that. Okay? So hopefully, that has been helpful for you. Again, if your fiscal year is coming up, if your fiscal year is December 31st, you want to, book a meeting with your accountant, review the bank balances, make sure they tie out to the bank reconciliations, go through the balance sheet accounts, make any adjusting entries, and go through the list of vendors who will receive a 1099 at the start of the calendar year. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for you. If you like this video, if this was helpful for you, make sure you like the video and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.